whenever you introduce a glass of wine and then drop a dish next to it, it's a different story than just having a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so those two things together, that handshake
Handshake,
makes
I like that.
for an experience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I find that it's such a big part of what we do at the magazine is bringing those two things together.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not two separate things.
No.
It's very much in the same place, right?
You know, that kind of philosophy of these two things are not exclusive of each other, that they show their best when they're together. Yeah, that's a really special thing about being a somm for sure. Wine is at its best when it takes the context, people, place, culture, and history. And when you have the opportunity to kind of share that in a conversation you have with your guests, if you can talk a little bit about what's in the glass and why it's there, and the people that made it, the year it came from, you know, the region, and tell the story of the wine, I think that's a really, really great thing. We are just kind of storytellers, matchmakers, and ambassadors at the end of the day.
The story should be part of what a sommelier brings to the table.
Yes, I think so. I think just like a chef chooses his or her ingredients with a thought in mind or philosophy in mind, I think winemakers do the same thing. I think sommeliers do the same thing. I think we share wine because it's good, but also because it has a soul or a story or something, you know, some reason for being. It's a conversation I had last night with one of my colleagues, and he made an observation that there's a difference between wine lovers and wine drinkers, and that wine lovers are willing to explore the world of wine. They're willing to kind of take the plunge and try something new. But then there's also the wine drinkers that wine is a beverage and they know what they like. They have brand recognition or a style that they recognize, and they would like that style regardless of what the dish is on the table. And that's okay. There's no wrong answer to how to enjoy wine. That's first and foremost. I'm always thinking about what's happening in the kitchen when I'm shopping, for sure. And I mean, now at George, we're really, really seasonal. And so the wines do change to reflect that.
Every week, sometimes something new will come in for the kitchen, but you can't really run it that way. How often are you switching the list or transferring out certain things?
The culinary style that I work with now is chef's tasting menu served blind. The dishes arrive to the table. There's this wonderful element of surprise and excitement that's built around not knowing what's coming next. Because of that, the wines aren't listed. And so I get the opportunity to open whatever I want, within reason, of course. I'm not gonna be opening TRC every night, but with that, there's a sense of fluidity to the whole process, and it really is about pairing with the ingredients that chef maybe bought that day at the market. If he's just got a bunch of fresh asparagus, I'm reaching for my Sylvaner or whatever I have in the cellar that's gonna complement that. A lot of the wine purchasing is done with the intention that it's a food-friendly, versatile, complementary style. But yeah, on a whim, if he's going to create a dish and send it out to a table, then I'm going to the cellar to find exactly what's going to work best. And in that respect, I have a range of styles of wine, New World, full-bodied, rich, Malbecs or Cabernets or that kind of thing. So it's really, I have to say, my current role is an absolute playground. It's a fun gig for sure.
Do you feel that it could be a dying art?
I hope not. I'll be out of a job. No, I don't think it's a dying art. I think actually, judging by how many young sommeliers there are coming up in the industry, I think that it's a growing craft and a growing art. And I think that maybe there's still only a handful of restaurants in the city that can afford to employ a full-time sommelier. But in some capacity or another, there's almost always a server that's taken a somm course or a floor manager that's taken a somm course, and they take ownership of the program and be that point of contact. Somms are there to point out the greatest hits of the wine cellar, and to know what's drinking really well, and to know what that dish that chef created tastes like. So in that sense, we're there to help. I think there's a bit of a misconception that somms are out to make the big sales. And I really hope that's not the case. And I can't even name a sommelier that I've met that is out to make the big sale over making the guest experience meaningful. So I think in that sense, don't be afraid of asking the somm a question. A great somm will make a recommendation that's going to knock your socks off and make your night memorable and not break your bank and not go outside of your budget. If you want to become a somm, you need to be receptive to criticism. That is advice right there. Yeah, to understand that your palate is not everybody's palate, and at the end of the day, somebody might not have enjoyed their wine that you've recommended for whatever reason. Yeah, I think in that sense, all my guest stories are in relation to that, but whether it's a gathering of sommeliers or just wine appreciators, wine lovers, winemakers, what have you. Yeah, there's always a story of somebody taking their clothes off and jumping in the pool, but I'm not naming names. I'm not naming names.